Hey, old school scares, welcome back to the channel. It has been a while. We've been super busy over the winter. We've seen a lot of horror movies, but I haven't really had a chance to make a video and share it with you. But there was one video that came out, or one movie that came out recently that I wanted to slow down and talk to you about, right? There's been some great stuff this winter. I loved Late Night with the Devil. There's been some cool other stuff that's come out there. But the one that I really wanted to slow down and talk about is I had a chance to see Alien 45th anniversary movie in the theater this past week. Alien's just an incredible movie. It's one of the seminal horror movies. It's considered one of the best movies of all time in the horror sci-fi space. One of my last movies I made, I talked about towards the end of Halloween season. I talked about my perfect 10 movies, and I actually have Alien listed on that list. Now, I had never had the chance to see it in the theater, and what an incredible movie it is. And what I love about this movie is it's such a well-made movie. One of the things you've probably noticed on this channel that I really enjoy is I appreciate a movie that tells a great story, has a great cast, and it understands like pacing. I'm okay with movies that are a little bit of a slow burn. Alien is a little bit of a slow burn. We see our crew come out of their sleep as they're coming back to Earth from their mining expedition, right? And this is a great movie. And as I slow down to think about this movie, it really only is like 7 characters, right? And you get to know each one of the characters because it's such a small cast. And having a small cast with 7 characters, you actually care about the people in the movie. It was funny because I would slow down and think about movies like the original Friday the 13th, and that is a small cast as well, right? You had a couple of characters that would be the secondary characters in that movie at the beginning, but when you got down to it, it was really, once you got to the campground, it was mainly those characters, but we never did anything in character development. And the reason I bring those two up is they came out right around the same time, right? So when you slow down and think about Alien, there's a couple of things that I want to talk about and why I loved seeing it in the theater. My review I talked about around Halloween, or why I had as a perfect 10, is because I talked about it being a haunted house movie in space, which it absolutely is. But the coolest thing about being a haunted house movie in space is there really is nowhere to go. I kind of likened it to Jaws, and I still think that's a very accurate comparison. Great cast. I was trying to slow down and figure out, like, when did the final girl really become prevalent? Because I even think back to, like, some of the movies from the 60s and 70s, and there was, I think back, like, Psycho, not really. Rosemary's Baby, you kind of had a final girl. Even, like, if you think about, like, Night of the Living Dead, right? Ben was the last character that was alive out of the group of the characters. Barbara in that movie, I think, does make it to the end and kind of escapes. So, I was kind of thinking about the Sigourney Weaver character and what would happen, obviously, with Jamie Lee Curtis's character in Halloween and Adrienne King in the Friday the 13th movies. And this was kind of that switch, at least the noticeable switch, of when movies went to that final girl character. But what's great about Sigourney Weaver's character in this is she's not like that prototypical final girl. She's a badass. She's eminently qualified. Like I said in my previous review, if they had just listened to her, none of the stuff would have happened in the movie. She literally was the voice of reason, trying to follow the protocol for this mining operation, right? But what I love about the movie is there's great characters. Like, I think about Harry Dean Stanton, Yaphet Kotto's characters as the engineers that are, obviously trying to scheme and get a larger share of the payout. You think about John Hurt's character and the iconic chest bursting scene. Tom Skerritt. I mean, just a great cast across the board. When I saw this in the theater, what stood out to me the most, though, and this is what I think is the most important, why I'd recommend seeing it to you. Over the last, probably since COVID, and maybe even a year or two before, I have seen a ton of classic horror in the movie theater. I saw Frankenstein, I saw Creature from the Black Lagoon, The Exorcist, Psycho, Jaws, The Shining, The Evil Dead, Halloween, Friday the 13th. Like, all of these amazing movies that I never got a chance to see in the theater originally. And I go through now and I try to watch those movies. Even there's movies that have come back around, like I talk about Jurassic Park, I've seen in the theater again. All the Star Wars movies I've re-seen in the theater. This one was most interesting to me because I think they do a great job in the theater, and it's a little bit lost, even on a big screen television, the scope of the initial contact with the aliens when they find the eggs. And, you had they call the Traveler, I believe, or the space jockey in that first scene, that giant character that had the alien eggs burst out of his chest. And the first time you see that giant horseshoe ship. And obviously that was kind of talked about more in Prometheus, and there was the prequels that kind of elaborated on that. But seeing that scope in the original movie was awesome. And you have a lot more sense of scope at the beginning of Alien in the theater. and then a lot more sense of isolation in the theater as well. Everything feels more claustrophobic watching on the bigger screen. So when I watched the movie, I really enjoyed it because I did have that sense of isolation, size at the beginning, and then obviously that sense of dread and that smaller scope when watching in the theater. So again, I'm not going to go a whole ton deeper. You know, the character is incredible, right? Stan Winston's Xenomorph character. Sigourney Weaver as Ripley is one of the truly amazing female leads of all time in a movie. Just a genuinely scary haunted house movie set in space. And if you have a chance to see it in the theater, it is just so much better than experiencing it even on your big screen television. So I'm going to make a recommendation if you can still see it. I believe it's playing through this weekend. Please go through and find a version of this in the theater. If not, check it out in 5 years when it's the 50th anniversary, which is wild. You know, I was just thinking about we're coming up on the next year will be the 50th anniversary for Jaws. And I saw it on the 40th and 45th anniversary, and I saw the 3D version in the theater, and I'll probably see it on the 50th anniversary. It's just so much fun to go see these classic movies on the big screen, and I always look forward to Halloween season when we get new versions of it. Now, a couple things coming up on the channel. I am working. I sent an email over to Universal Studios and to SeaWorld trying to get into some of the media events for Halloween Horror Night and Hallowscreams, which are a few months out. We will be attending both of those this year. I also potentially have a really good chance to attend Halloween Horror Nights in California this year, attached to a work event, so I'm hoping to be able to share both with you. So my intention this year with some of that is going to be to try to do Halloween Horror Nights Orlando, Halloween Horror Nights Hollywood, Hallowscream Orlando, Hallowscream Tampa. That's kind of what I want to do so I can get a whole bunch of different versions of some of the horror stuff that's coming out there. Again, as we get through the rest of the season too, I'll continue to add some more classic monster movie reviews and any of the newer stuff that's coming out. I definitely want to share. Like, I didn't realize there was a new Strangers movie coming out. I'm very much looking forward to seeing that one. And then at some point in time, I'm sure I'll slow down and I'll do a review of Late Night with the Devil, which again I liked very much. Abigail, The Last of Demeter. There was a few movies that came out that were pretty fun that I want to come back and share with you. So I appreciate you as always for checking out our channel. Again, I apologize we haven't had much content recently. Just a lot going on in the world and in life. But I do look forward to sharing more content as we get through the summer and head into Halloween season, and hopefully some really cool stuff for you guys. If you haven't done so far, please hit that like and subscribe button and throw in the comments any movies you'd like to see. I'm happy to do reviews on any of the classic monster movies or horror movies. So if there's something you want to see specifically, please let me know. I'd be happy to share it with you. Thanks, everybody. We'll talk real soon.